Hi, week 2 is upon us, and we are going to talk about demonstrating and advocating for professionalism and accountability to change the decisions of organizations for the delivery of standard-based nursing care consistent with moral, altruistic, ethical, regulatory, cultural, and humanistic principles in the community through healthcare policies. Discussion asks us to describe the delivery of moral and altruistic care for a patient. They've given us a scenario and his family, and they want you to demonstrate how you provide ethical, standard-based care. Now, ethics, I believe, is infused in nursing in almost everything that we do every day, whether it has to do with an ethical issue of keeping a patient alive, or of helping a patient to end their death, or of whether or not to do a certain procedure or treatment for a patient. Maybe it's the ethics of having to deal with a coworker who is under the influence of something and not functioning as they should be. Ethics is, as I said, everywhere in nursing and in the medical field. This book right here, I'm just going to recommend reading for you. I know you have lots of spare time, but if you ever get a chance, maybe when you're done with school, it's an excellent book on the medical field, nurses and doctors, and ethics. So it's about a hospital when Hurricane Katrina strikes, and how their social framework and other mores kind of break down, both inside and outside of the hospital. The hospital loses power, all of the windows are broken from the wind, they have to take patients up onto the roof of the hospital and out into the garage just for them to get fresh air because it's very hot in New Orleans. And then physicians and nurses started to make up their own triage methods, including giving last priority to any patient that had a DNR, no matter what their current clinical condition was. Then they started to euthanize certain patients. They couldn't save all of the patients. The helicopters were coming very slowly, and some patients, the way that they had to get them out onto the roof, some patients were too sick on ventilators or even too large to get through these small areas that they had to go through. Anyways, they say that this is something that, with all of the different disasters that we've had since Hurricane Katrina, this category of triage was being used in New Orleans. It had never been used before Katrina, but it is now one of the categories of triage that is used for disasters. So an interesting read, lots of ethical, moral issues in here. And then our assignment requires you to advocate to change the delivery of standard-based care with cultural and humanistic principles in the community through healthcare policies. It wants you to discuss current legislation, laws, rules, and regulations that surround the needs and issues, and identify what actions need to be developed or modified to improve the health and well-being of the family member. Brings me to another book recommendation. I read this book quite a while ago. It's called The Spirit Catches You When You Fall Down. It is actually highlights the problems that patients and families of different cultures can have. And it explores the clash between this small hospital in California and a refugee family from Hmong. And the child was diagnosed with severe epilepsy, but the medication and treatment that the doctors were recommending for the baby didn't really agree with the patients. They both wanted what was best for her, but because of their cultural beliefs and their language barrier, treatments weren't done correctly. And again, it's really an interesting read, and I think it identifies, you guys have all been in nursing for a while, what kind of happens a lot when we deal with patients of different cultures. And finally, I just wanted to highlight some of the federal nursing advocacy issues that are happening right now. The ANA is advocating on gun violence and the impending nurse shortage. I know that the way that staffing is now, most of us feel like there is not a nursing shortage, but with the baby boomers getting older and about to retire and come out of nursing and become patients themselves, there is a forecast for a huge nursing shortage within the next 10 years. Appropriate staffing, workplace health and safety, anything from safe needles to safe lifting, environmental health, healthcare reform, nursing workforce development. How can we get more people into nursing? How can we get more people into advanced practice nursing? And of course, the home health issues. So have a good week. I will see you online. Please email me, contact me with any questions that you might have. Thanks.